Okay. Somehow I'm going to start from verse 42, volume 2, chapter 3. Okay, well, this is pretty nice. I got this Hare Krishna in the background. We got good reception. Um, I'm going to do two things today. I'm going to begin the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, and then I'm going to do something that I usually don't do, talk about controversy and my opinion of something. But this one, I think it's important. They leaders, I don't like to, anyway, I guess the GBC continued the moratorium against Vaishnavis taking disciples. And I wanted to say something about that. Because from my perspective of Shastra and Prabhupada's mood in sharing Krishna consciousness in the West, to not extend that to some very, very, very qualified Vaishnavis. I don't know. It's hard for me to understand. Okay, so I'm going back to something that we've already done probably many times, but okay, text 42. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ittham ānanda-sandoham anuvindan nimagna-dhīḥ. ātmārāma ivābhūvaṁ pūrṇa-kāma ivātha. The huge treasure of ecstasy I in this way obtained inundated my mind. I became like a self-contented sage or like a man whose ambitions have all been fulfilled. Om Vijnana-timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hey, it's in here, I think you can find. Sri Chaitanya Mano Ishtam on the right side. Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam. No, it's in the top one on the right-hand side, right there, the middle one down. Yeah, there's probably Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So greetings from Govardhan. I'm kind of amazed how short-term memory is. Because as I've told you, somehow or other, I don't know if I got caught off guard or got swept in the waves of ecstasy, but my schedule got thrown off. I don't think in a bad way, because it was all Krishna conscious activities, in a way that I printed more reprints than ever before. And I asked Rati to print the reprint, but I gave him the wrong date. So he gave one that was printed already twice and already last year. And I printed, there's no victim consciousness in Krishna consciousness, something. I'm surprised how many people didn't remember that I did that. What to speak of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta? We've lost a month and a half in various ways, maybe 2 months. So what happened, where we are, and I haven't had time yet to kind of go over that. So I'm going to start here. From now on, we should be very steady. I see no reason now. This was an exceptional burst of the internal potency, which didn't move me for studies or classes the way I usually have life. Anyway, let's try to piece it together. The second story, Uttara wanted to know about the place. Goloka Mahatmya is the title of the second book. First book, Bhagavat Sar Kripa. What is the essence of who has the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy? So you get the person and the place. And I've always discussed the importance of it because the place, in many, many ways, dictates the manifestation of your person according to the demands of the environment. The office demands reverence, different. And the whole idea here is when it's the most free love, the romantic love of God, and why shouldn't he have it? When the romantic love of God is manifest, then Goloka Mahatmya, the greatness of this place. So Gokumar, in his search for his Ishtadev, and we know the story, he got the mantra, but without any instructions. So the spirit of lobha, or greed for wanting this, carried him forward, but not in a direct way. He had to do everything by experience rather than understanding. And somehow he was directed again to Vrindavan, met his guru, gave him the secrets of how to chant the mantra, and he practically got a spiritual body and then shot through the universe because he was no longer. What's this going in and out? He was no longer confined by the modes of nature, the way the matter works in the way we know it. And this trip gave him various experiences and choices, whether you want to proceed further or stay here, because here is your God. And he found out, well, because of the environment, he couldn't manifest his person. And even though there's one God, when he manifests as his person, it becomes another person. So he couldn't manifest the intimacy. If you have an intimate relationship with someone, you don't want a formal one. And if you have a formal one, you don't want an intimate one. So, and somehow or other, this concept is there that all your desires have to be fulfilled before you go back to Godhead. And there's a way of doing them by fulfilling them and renouncing them. And I guess there's a way of doing them by vishya vinivartante niraharasya dhyana, by just getting this higher taste of Krishna consciousness. So it becomes increasingly more challenging. When he goes to pradhan, I think it was the mahatattva, the collective material things, all sense pleasures, a million times more. And because it's God, he can keep on increasing everything. And now he went to the abode of liberation, where God is there, but his effulgence blinds everyone, and you can have the service of being part of that effulgence. So he gets captured because it is more pleasurable than there's bhukti, mukti, and bhakti. bhukti, material enjoyment, has gradations up to the heavenly planets, which is inconceivable, but it's not as pleasure as mukti. But somehow or other, he feels so contented with this flood of ecstasy. But like a contented sage, because he can never be satisfied once fulfilling. It's going to be tough for you ladies after this jet lag. So if you fall asleep in class, I'll just speak to Hemalatarada. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Just for our loving community, Sri Rupa and Kishori arrived. They booked into the Govardhan Hilton. They're ecstatic with the memory foam beds, the water filter producing sweet water. What did they put on the floor that scented so nice? Was there a little eucalyptus oil or something?
Something. They can smell it.
What they can, what?
No.
Sadat did it?
Yeah.
Figure it out. I was a little envious there, Walked into that room and it was like sparkling. What?
We'll do that.
I'm joking, but they're going to be jet lagged during the class, so I'm not going to be annoyed. So he just analyzed this and concluded he reached this is the highest destination. And tossed by the waves of ecstasy intrinsic to that abode, Ananda Taranga, Swabhavika Pada, of that abode, Pada Swabhavika Nanda, of the abode, Swabhavika, it's very natural, this Ananda, which is Taranga, and Shobha Vibale, and the mind became overwhelmed. And then what happened? His goal, his awareness of his goal, he forgot. And that could happen to us. There's nothing more than the Bhakti Lata Bij, what we got from Krishna, the experience of coming to Krishna consciousness. And then we forget it, and we can become overwhelmed by so many petty things. And so now I'll stay with this. But Sriman Bhagavatopadeshata Samantra Seva Balito Nakevalam Linakadachin Nijapuja Devita Padabja Sakshad Avaloka Lalasa. But what happened is, because of following the divine instructions of the great saintly devotees, and because of the strength of service to his mantra, the hankering to see Madan Gopal with his own eyes, which was his thing. The mantra is there, but he wanted to see, he wanted to have this darshan of Madan Gopal. He wanted to be with his Lord. And that faith just stayed there. We're saved by our faith. I always mention this a million times. The purpose of the ashram I have here is to have people, especially close to me, get that experience, which becomes their faith. Otherwise, they forget it. When you come here, when we came, Sri Rupa and Kishori, I told them, you come at this time. I do the retreats. I'm not responsible, but I was in an exceptionally merciful mood. So we went to Rup Seva Kunj. And what I'm doing every day, which is amazing, is after I finish, we have a morning program every day. We're enjoying so much. People can come and chant japa with me from 7 to 8. It's very powerful. 8 to 8:30, we have incredible kirtan. And then 8:30 to 9, I read from my Monday morning greetings and discuss different points. I'm really amazed how good the first book was. Every article, And somehow or other, how Krishna arranges it, there's 6 brahmacharis here from New Zealand that come every day too. So you have that little class. Then I take some breakfast, and then I go to Rup Seva Kunj, 5 minutes. I'm a big spender. I give them 100 rupees. I'm spoiling them. And then I go into each of the kutirs. I sit by their Radha Kund, I chant, and 2 rounds in each of the kutirs. And it's so beautifully done that when you go in, you press a button and you get the Sad Goswami Astakam. So I like to press the button, hear the whole Sad Goswami Astakam. Then you have a biography of the person in 3 different languages, English, Hindi, and Russian. I don't do that. I just chant. It's a very beautiful place. Anyway, that faith he had by his experience, it carries you. Once you get that faith, once you get that experience of Braja Bhakti, the sweetness of Vrindavan, then it's hard to lose your eagerness for that, even in the midst of the greatest pleasures. And this is, it's quite amazing. Somehow or other, Mahakalapur is the effulgence of God, but that means God is still there. By his mercy, you can see this. So this is what happened. Utasya tejo maya purashasya sasya chiravalokena vivartito bhut. The jesta sandarshana digda lobha smite smitam nita ivābhūvaṁ. Mahakala, the stronger rose, my long-standing greed, the subjects of my worship. The deity I worship seemed pulled by onto the path of my remembrance. There's also Sarvasya Chaham Hidisani Vishto Matasmitir Gyanam Apoanancha. I'm situated in everyone's heart, and for me comes remembrance and knowledge. So there's a personal relationship with God. And when he withdraws, it's for your benefit, and when he gives, it's for your benefit. He can withdraw because you need to value something more. If you don't value something more, he'll withdraw. To bring you to a point, then you'll realize what you're missing. But he could also bring up remembrance when you, this concept of mercy, that God does protect our faith when we need it. And I guess I can mention it when I step outside of ISKCON for various reasons, just legally. And that was a very difficult thing because we have this loyalty, right? But I had no choice. I was put between a rock and a hard place. So I had no choice. And in time it proved, and I had dreams of Bhakti Siddhanta Swami. And I never have dreams like this, but there were such vivid dreams where they came, gave me instruction. Not only gave me instruction, but encouraged me. Srila Bhakti Swami said, if you want to go deeper, I'll help you. It's mystical. It's not that this was on my mind, put it together. And then one sadhu, when he told me, he said, when you need faith sometime, but you're not yet qualified to contact God on the corporal platform, God can come in the form of, in dreams, meet you halfway on the subtle platform. So I'm not surprised the deity he worshiped onto the path of his remembrance. And somehow or other, the worship of Lord Mahakal, which was so beautiful. Remember, even when he came, even the Pradhan, there was this bluish, sham-like color that was so alluring. tena tam prakatam pasyam api priye napurvavat siddham yatalayam swasya sankamana swayam bhavan. Because of, even though I beheld the Supreme Lord right before me, I could not feel as satisfied as before. I was disturbed by the fear that I might merge into him, as was likely to happen in that abode. Just that the thought, the thought of all difficulties just going, all difficulties just going, the thought, the thought of just falling back in a massage chair and letting a friend of mine used to have a massage chair and I used to visit him and I would get the best and just, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of like existential massage of Brahman and even though the presence of Lord Mahakal greatly intensified Gopkumar's greed to see Lord Madan Gopal, Gopkumar did not feel as happy here as on the other planets he had visited. The various forms of the Supreme Lord he had seen elsewhere had not inspired a remembrance of Madan Gopal as intense as Mahakal Pur. But at least on those other planets, Gopkumar had no danger of merging into the object of his meditation. Because somehow or other, I guess that's what it is, this allurement to, there is Sayuja Mukti, where your liberation is you become one with God. If he would emerge and forget his separate existence, he would also forget his desire to join Srimadan Gopal's pastimes. So, sometimes there's Shreyas and Preyas. Preyas is the immediate pleasure, Shreyas is the ultimate benefit. So this prayas was very alluring. It was the boat of liberation. I remember one of my first spiritual realizations, sitting in a car with Jayanta on 96th Street and Seaview Avenue. There has to be something better than this. There has to be something better than this. And even now, there has to be something better than this. It's so nice to have a spiritual objective. It's so nice to have a spiritual objective. Okay, and then he was thinking, I've returned to this Vrajabhumi, I've fulfilled my desires, and then I heard some wonderful singing music. Okay, we're going to start with Lord Shiva. Now, I don't know, I'm going to explain um, what I was, thinking. And, um, well, yeah, I think 20 years ago, the GBC got together, maybe they had a Shastric board of Vaishnav scholars, and they came to the conclusion that women can become initiating gurus. And just the nature of it, it wouldn't become as many as the men. It'd probably be people that were older. Whatever the case is, it was approved. But then somehow or other, there was a backlash from people in India. And the difficulty with that is, each country has its own laws. So for an international society to control another country takes a little finesse. And it was especially difficult in India because India was very, the British colonization, etc. So in India, the GBC couldn't be the legal authority for ISKCON, but it was an ISKCON that had to be set up. And, it had people like Gopal Krishna, Bhakti True Maharaj, Jayapataka, who were all for women, qualified women, taking up this service. But somehow or other, there were others, that held this kind of threat. So they kept on putting it off. And the others held this threat that they could take ISKCON. So they kept up. So I think 3 years ago, it came up again, and they had a 3-year moratorium. Although one person, Mother Narayani, a very advanced and learned Vaishnavi that's been 53 years in India serving, very scholarly and very humble. She kind of snuck in, but they closed it down. So that the moratorium was off. And then I would have thought they would just say nothing and let the moratorium ride, but they had a meeting, and then somehow or other, it seems, with this threat of breaking up ISKCON, they delayed it again. And so when I saw that document that they wrote, and remember, I'm not formally in ISKCON, I'm for ISKCON. I'm not against ISKCON, I'm for ISKCON. And I was sad, I was sad on the basis of I trained myself in Monday morning greetings to be objective, intellectual, look at things at both sides, etc. So I look at issues very, very deeply, and I always learn the other side, and I understand concerns that people have from a more traditional background. I understand their concerns, but their concerns are based on something that doesn't exist. Their concerns are based that somehow or other, there's a postmodern, feminist, anti-traditional thing which has nothing to do with this issue at all. So I usually stay out of polemics because people get on different sides and compromise people's faith, maybe some. But on this one, I thought I just had to say something, and I may even write something on it. And basically, it's kind of simple. It appears Prabhupada said it. The only thing, there was one purport where he said that Dhruva couldn't take initiation from his mother. It couldn't take initiation from Suniti because it was his mother and a woman. So they said, here we have it in the books. It's directly what Prabhupada said. That was I think, their strongest argument. Even though Prabhupada said many, many other times and acted that way, that, it would be not like a number that has to be equal men and women, but everyone would have the opportunity. And for women, it would generally be people who are older and, just that there's hardly anyone now that really wants it, but there are qualified people. So, but even that quote by Prabhupada, when they went to the manuscript, the original manuscript of Prabhupada, because people said no, it was just indicating that because it was his mother, it wouldn't be proper, right? But the manuscript itself didn't say that. Maybe it would interpret that way. It didn't say that, the manuscript. The manuscript itself basically just said because it was his mother. And the way it was said, you couldn't interpret it any other way. So that was the main thing. So that's not there. And then in tradition, it's Shastric because there have been women gurus. So it's also Shastric. It's also supported by Prabhupada. It's also, for me, as a person who is trying to spread Krishna consciousness, what I see, and I spoke to Raghunath, actually I spoke to him today, but Krishna consciousness is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think wisdom of the sages shows how easily you can attract people. And what is their success? They remove all the obstacles that I'm like firm. I'm not Krishna West. I've had correspondence with Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, very respectful correspondence. Um, that this is the way Krishna dressed, and it has some, anyway. I'm not that far. Bhakti center, firmly rooted, branching out. Just like I remember the conversation, some people wanted to take Prabhupada's deity out of the temple because they thought for new people it would be a little bit, strange. I was there. Ānanda Swami said no. They wanted to change the Bhagavatam class to the CC, and no. So there's that tradition, firmly rooted, branching out. Um, so um, so I really kind of felt that somehow the people, I know some of them, nice. I know some, like I know Vasu Ghosh, she's a soft-hearted person. He seems to be spearheading this. It's they somehow have a wrong concept that this is some kind of plot or something. And there, but it's just preaching Krishna consciousness and having qualified people do it. And so you don't have Prabhupada said it. Even the Bhagavatam verse that other people quote is does it, if you want to know what it actually says, and a little ambiguous, it's just that it was his mother. It wasn't that it was a woman. And it's in the tradition. It's in the tradition. So it's not against Shastra. It's not against Prabhupada. And therefore, if there's some issues or things with it or whatever the case is, the issue easily can be applied. But I mean, when you have people like Mother Narayani, Mother Rukmini, I don't know any devotee in the movement that's practically as learned as Urmila, And if you say, well, I don't like this person or that person, but, look at all the men and the personalities and and the different things, So what upset me the most is the irrationality of people in approaching this. The irrationality of people approaching this, when it's not against Prabhupada. Prabhupada said it was okay. It's not against what's the Bhagavatam, and it's well within the tradition. And then, and then even India, Pakistan had a woman president. India had a woman president. Bangladesh had a woman. Sri Lanka had a woman president. So in the most traditional places, women have gotten the most power without disturbance. And in fact, the men respect it because what proper men respect the most is their mother. So they see people as mothers. So anyway, I'm not that as lucid as I want, but I just wanted to be on the record that I probably, because I've done this before, I've done this with this paper on Raganuga Bhakti. Like I like to make legal arguments tight. I did it with Raganuga Bhakti. I did one, which wasn't in my name for a particular reason, but it was in the Journal of Vaishnav Study, a book review on this. There was a book review on a book that was misrepresenting Prabhupada. I did it on Prabhupada's eternal relationship. So maybe I'll do something like this. I thought, okay. So, yeah, that's it. I really was a little upset with this. It's just not a feminist, you know, postmodern thing. It's just tradition. And in fact, this is amazing. In fact, the most orthodox tradition in Vrindavan, because there's a scholar called Satyanarayan Baba. He's a great scholar. I was the one that first sponsored his Sanskrit education. He actually worked for me. I remember when he showed up at my door and said he wanted to teach Sanskrit, and I gave him a room, and he studied. So I actually know him quite well, and his brothers. And he was initiated by probably the most learned scholar in Vrindavan. His guru had 9 degrees from Benares Hindu University. Like it's practically 9 PhDs, and Jiva Goswami, logic, Nyaya. And he was quite conservative. He was quite conservative. When I look at it, Raganuga Bhakti, you have like the Radhakund Babaji's out here. And then, you have Narayan Maharaj a little bit more liberal. Then you have Prabhupada a little less liberal than them. They're much less. And, I know that up until his grand guru's father, the gurus in their line were the mothers. It was a seminal succession by the mothers. And when he discussed it, one point he made, because I heard him discuss it, this was many, many years ago, he said, Lord Chaitanya changed things, how he spread bhakti. Because even, if you talk about tradition, then I wouldn't be a guru, other people wouldn't be gurus. If you want to know the real technical type things and these rules and things. So Lord Chaitanya really, he was revolutionary. Kiba Vipa, Kiba Nasi, Kena Sudrahoy, Ye Krishna-katha Veta, say Guru Hoy. One who knows the tattva of Krishna. So, yeah, let's see what happens. But it was such a weakness to cave to kind of intimidation and threats. When I grew up, John F. Kennedy Jr., he became the president. I remember the day he died. I was playing football in the backyard, and then my neighbor came. And I don't know, it was horrible. We didn't care one bit. And then I remember the assembly the next day in the school, right? And we had a party that night. And the head of the assembly was appalled that we had a party. And I remember one guy, Alan Miller, stood up and said, "What's that? I don't care, the butcher, the baker, the president, who dies, what's the difference?" It's kind of, but I remember when I grew up, we read a book called Profiles in Courage. That people stick by principles, they take stands by principles, and Dharma leads to auspiciousness. That's all. So if they had decided that it was the proper thing, and the most senior Vaishnavas that were close to Prabhupada, Jayapataka, Bhakti True Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, And others concluded that this, after thinking it carefully and then caving, it's not a good sign. Okay. Jumunajaya, you'd like to say hello? Are you here?
Yes, I'm here, Maharaj. Thank you so much for class. Thank you for it's funny
Yeah,
you mentioned
yeah,
you
good.
mentioned Narayani Devi, and she gave class for the Bhakti Center this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
The
Every
old Narayani Devi, like
yeah,
she's 80
yeah,
years old. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
she's so qualified. Every time she gives class, she speaks really fast. So every time she gives class, I'm always like trying to write really quickly.
She's Shastravit though, right? Very learned.
Yes, absolutely. So when you said that today, I was like, "Yep, well, there you go." And yeah, she gives class at the Bhakti Center about. I think they try to get her like every other month or so. Not a lot, but we do get to hear from her
Oh,
frequently.
she did it online.
Yes, yeah, yeah. The
Okay.
Bhakti
Well,
Center, yeah. So
okay.
I thought that was. But I really loved your point. When we neglect something, it can be withdrawn. But then you added the point that Krishna withdraws it.
Is that yours or mine?
It's hers.
Okay, Gail. Hare Krishna. Any
Right.
questions?
Yeah, but I was just wondering when it comes to the female guru thing,
Yeah.
what about the ABCs of our philosophy that we're not the body, you know? How come that doesn't seem to get any consideration?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita, the first thing the Bhagavad Gita teaches is not that you're not the body, it teaches you are the body because he tells Arjuna to fight. So there is a consideration of that, but I'm not saying maybe not in this case, but it's just not they're not the body. There are differences, etc. Maybe a minor consideration for something, but it's yeah, right, and I on this case it really comes to that. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I don't know, Gail. It's
And
mystified.
and also, I mean, doesn't their stand kind of invalidate the consort of Nityananda Prabhu, Janava Devi, as
Not that, but so many.
yeah, in addition to her, not
And Prabhupada said yes, but maybe not so many because there are different considerations, etc. And I don't want to get into the difference between men and women and how this plays, but there have been women gurus in the line. That's all. And for various reasons, there wouldn't be as many, but there have been. And
yes,
and
Sita
there
Thakur. I mean,
there's many of them,
yeah, I mean,
and including Narayani, who somehow got authorized, but they're so humble, you know.
mhm.
They're so qualified, actually. It's just it just as someone who's trying to share Krishna consciousness, it's astounding to me that they'll put obstacles in the way of doing it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
spoke to Raghunath and Kasuba called me up. I think they should make a statement to
yeah.
not
It
to
just
put
seems it just seems like very obviously horrible preaching. if you want to if you want to save souls, if you want to help people go to
exactly.
Goloka, horrible.
It's so well said, Gail. Horrible preaching. Horrible preaching. So well said. It's just horrible preaching. And therefore, I mean, I don't think, and I've been loyal to ISKCON. I generally don't criticize, I support it because there's so many other groups and I always support ISKCON. But yeah, even one time came back to Raghunath that there was some leaders in ISKCON were saying we have to have our own wisdom of the sages. And I'm just saying, what? Why don't you just work with these guys? You know, it's yeah. Yeah, preaching leaders. That's what Prabhupada had. You know, I got this understanding. It's really that when Lord Chaitanya preached, who did he preach to? The chief minister, the home minister, the son of the richest man in West Bengal, the son of the head priest at the biggest temple, and the head of the Mayavadis, the chief logician, you know, and then Prabhupada, then Prabhupada came, and who did he choose? He chose leaders. He didn't have the same level of purity, but he still chose leaders. So you need as leaders, you need people with vision that can push things forward, and you have that kind of vision in preaching. Then you think really carefully about this. Yeah. Okay. Haribo. Anybody else like to say hello? I'm going to get back into the classes. I'm going to prepare it. I have a better system of keeping track now. You know, my forte has been my steadiness for 12 years, keeping it up at the right time, and my writing also. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna. Oops. Yeah, what's Sundari?
Oh, nice to see. You know, I initiated Pavane.
Yes, yeah, yeah, it was
Um,
nice. Yeah, we saw it. Yeah, thank you.
yes. What? Prema Mai.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Prema.
Pavane.
Yeah,
It was a beautiful ceremony, and it was done by the internal potency, because people only asked me the night before. So it was a very, and I didn't agree to it because it was the night before, but then I went to class, and then I thought, yeah, you know, she'll go back to Iran. She's a very sincere and nice lady. Who knows when she'll come back again? You know what I'm saying? So I felt like, okay, I have to do this. But it went so beautifully because it was the internal potency. We didn't have to organize it because we didn't have time. So it was very nice. And you know me, I
yeah,
have
that's
that.
very
What?
yeah, that's very kind of you. She was very happy. Yeah, yeah, I saw the photos and things. Thank you.
Oh, okay. If anybody has the photos, they can show me too what it looked like.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
it
send
was
it.
very nice. Okay, anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Gurudev.
Jai Shri Radhe. We were thinking of you today. We went to Rupa Seva Kunj, and they have this, Kishore was blown away how aesthetic and beautiful their cafe is. And they had this like borscht pie. And she said, oh my God, Jai Shri Radhe would go mad for this. This is what, you know, it's something I particularly, it's not my favorite. I do like a lot of the Russian pastries, but the borscht pie, it's not.
I've never heard of it even.
No, if you saw it, you'd know what it is. Okay. What?
Send her a picture.
They'll send you a picture. It's not a borscht pie, but it has beets
And dill.
and dill and vegetables. Yeah. Okay. Okay, here, Champak put it in Russian what it is. You know.
I think it's Shuba, Jeshirada, is it?
Okay.
Spell
Did
it?
your mother tell you how I met her?
Yes, she said that you were chanting in the kutir and she was so happy to run into you.
And I didn't expect her to be there.
She just arrived and I think the first person she saw is you.
Yeah, I was sitting in the Kutai chanting, and I was actually thinking, because I don't get involved in things, is she coming again anymore? If not, if she doesn't come, then can Champa come? If they don't come, they can stay in the Govardhan Hilton. And it's all going through my mind. And then she shows up at the door. So it was, I met Vasudev. You know,
Yes.
he likes what you and Jamuna Jaya are doing with the community groups. That's great. Okay. 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 Anybody else like to say hello?
Hello,
Hare Krishna,
Maharaj.
Hey, Denny, nice to see you. Driving your truck?
Yeah, look, I'll show you. So I can turn you.
What's that?
There you go.
Wow, miserable out.
Driving around.
Okay. Okay, nice to see you. Okay.
Always nice to see you. Thank you.
Okay. When I come to the States, Jai Shri Radhe should send you an invitation to the program if you can make it. Okay.
Wonderful.
I will, Gurudev.
Okay, make sure yeah, you've been in touch with him before. Okay, anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Welcome into.
And Bṛhad, thank you for class.
Thank you for class.
I'm finally like getting down to like my regular life. I mean, the fact that I have time after waking up early and chanting and doing deity worship, then having a morning program, and still going out
Mm.
from
Yeah.
Seva Kunj and sitting there in those kutirs. Now, Kishori Radha and Sri Rupa, I'll take them on Govardhan Prikram tomorrow. We'll see how far.
Oh, nice.
Every evening, they have an order to go to Rupa Seva Kunj and spend 2 hours chanting, and then they can go in the cafe.
Yeah.
And
That's
I didn't
nice.
take anything because I eat such a big lunch, but it was pretty spectacular
Well,
Nice.
what they have there. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Maharaj. Thanks for the class
Sri
today.
Radhika. Very nice.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thanks for the class. I see the embroidery behind you. Thank you.
You saw what?
The embroidery I made for you. The embroidery.
Oh, that's right. Look at that. That's
Oh, thank you.
and then the painting by
Wow.
Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. Okay. You look like you have a very nice house with the wood things and
Yeah, I hope that you can come here, Maharaj, and visit us.
we'll see. I'm thinking, your mother made such a feast for all the devotees. It was like a Persian feast with that rice, with the orange peels and different things in it, and the pomegranate walnut sauce with cheese. Yeah, Lal and Bṛhad
I
said
try
that.
to make similar, Maharaj.
What's that?
I try to make similar like my mom. The similar
Well,
feast for you.
it's a tall order for you to come up to that standard. And this was not cooked just for, it was cooked for 40, 50 people.
Yeah.
How many people?
Yeah,
About 40 people it was cooked for.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna,
Hey,
Maharaj.
Hey, Haribo.
Haribo from Carpinteria.
Oh, wow. Okay. Carpinteria. Okay.
Great.
You with Mother Kunti and that,
Yes.
And how nice.
It's great to hear
Yeah.
from you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you too. Wow. Great. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Yogamaya Shakti.
Shakti. How are you?
I give the best names. Everyone
You
says.
do, yes.
What?
Thank you, Ma. Thank you. It's a great name. Thank you. Very
Okay,
honored.
Haribo.
Haribo.
You're in Philadelphia?
I am, yes.
Never heard of the place.
All
Okay. All right.
right. Bye.
Okay. Anybody else say hello before I go? Okay. I'm looking at the list of all the
Hare
people that
Krishna,
I know.
Maharaj.
Oh,
This is
Prema
from
Mai.
my just
Where we-
greeting and saying thank you so much. I miss you, Maharaj.
Prema Mai, you got initiated just a few days ago. Wow. I
Yes.
can feel that you really feel inspired now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you.
You're back in Tehran?
Yes, yesterday.
Oh, okay. Okay, Haribo. Okay, I'm looking at the list, thanking everybody that's coming, and we'll get back into our groove, okay? Vanchakalpatarubhyascha